Hello, my name is Chase Rose. I'm an Associate Wealth Advisor here at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management.
And I'm Jordan Shaw, Associate Wealth Advisor here at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management. We're here to give you an economic and market update for the month of August, looking forward to September.
Yeah. All right. So first, we're going to start with market returns. I did want to say that Austin Wilson decided not to show up to work today. It's his birthday, so I guess he feels entitled to not have to show up to work. So that's why he's absent again, for those of you wondering. But we will carry on nonetheless. So to start with the market returns, for the month of August, the S&P 500 was up 2.3%. NASDAQ composites, so think tech stocks, up 0.7%. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 2%, with small caps down 1.5%. International and developed markets up 3.3%. Emerging markets up 1.7%. And the bond market also participating in the upswing, up 2.4% for the month of August. So pretty well rounded outside of the small cap sector. So great return numbers for the month of August. A little volatile, especially towards the beginning period, but I will elaborate on that in just a second.
Yeah, it's been a good month. And we're looking at fall coming up. So NFL is on its way. Set your teams, get your jerseys out, get your Papa John's order ready to go. Go Bills.
Nah, go Bills. I didn't know you were a Bills fan. That's interesting.
Go Josh Allen.
Go
and
Josh
all
Allen.
the other
There you go.
players who I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. I have Josh Allen on my fantasy team, so I can get behind that. But I did not realize you're a Bills fan. Interesting enough. I guess you are from upstate New York.
That's right. It's the only NFL game I've gone to.
Okay. All right. Well, go Josh Allen. I can get on board with
There we go.
So, I personally enjoy spending 8 hours a day watching football myself, so I'm all about the start of football season, man. All right, now we're going to shift towards unemployment. So the jobs report that released in the month of August looks at data from the month of July, and it was worse than economists had expected. The unemployment rate was up unemployment rate ticked up to 4.3% compared to the estimated 4.1%, and as well as the 4.1% reading the month prior. This did send markets into a frenzy. For those of you who are invested in the stock market, you probably did experience some volatility towards the downside as investors really digested this information. However, once you sat back and you looked under the hood of that jobs report, there was actually a hurricane back in July in Texas that increased short-term unemployment rate for people in that area, which actually impacted the national unemployment rate in a negative way. So once that was really digested, if that wasn't even considered, if the hurricane never occurred and those short-term unemployments happened, the unemployment rate would have stayed at 4.1%. So it really was a quick turnaround in the markets after that was kind of digested. So
a lot of news, a lot of overreacting to news, but we're here to clear it up for you if we
absolutely, yeah.
Speaking of natural disasters, there was an incident at a park in Australia where a man threw scalding hot coffee on a baby and then ran away, fled the country. The baby will be okay, but will have scars for life. So
It's terrible.
it's terrible. Yeah. But look out for a man who looks like he just did something terrible, because he is at large. That's the update.
I didn't realize people were so capable of such disgusting acts of violence.
Monsters. Or perhaps he spilled it. I guess we don't have all the facts, so keep a lid on your coffee if you're
Yeah, no kidding.
around babies.
There was a really famous McDonald's lawsuit over spilled coffee one time. I remember reading about that. This is not a recommendation buying or selling McDonald's. That is just a coincidence. All right. Now moving on to inflation. So the July inflation report showed another modest increase in the price of consumer goods. It actually marked the lowest 3-month increase in the CPI index since early 2021. The headline CPI, so that includes groceries and energy, gas prices, things like that, increased 0.2% month over month and 2.9% year over year. So this definitely continues the trend of the disinflationary period that we've been seeing recently.
Hopefully your dollar can buy a couple more things, or at least not buy as few things as we've been experiencing. It's been an interesting year. Switching gears a little bit to home ownership. If you're looking to purchase or have a home, there was an HOA in Summit County, Colorado, where a few kids were selling lemonade, and they had the cops called on them for blocking the road. And the cops came, determined they were well within their rights to sell lemonade on the side of the road, even though all the parents in the HOA were very upset with them. So I don't know what's wrong with them out in Colorado. I'm glad I don't have a home out there and I can sell lemonade, or my daughter can sell lemonade if she wants to.
Yeah. It must have been getting a little rowdy out there with the lemonade standards.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
Who knows what was in their lemonade?
And no kidding. No kidding. Maybe more on that in just a second.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, so we've talked about unemployment. We've also talked about inflation. That highlights the two mandates that the Federal Reserve has on their docket. So they have to, I guess their mandate is to keep unemployment low and keep the inflation rate low as well. And with inflation, so that was the primary reason behind why they increased interest rates to the point that they are at now. With inflation really seeming to be under control and the unemployment rate starting to tick up slightly, it seems as though the Fed might take some action soon and decrease interest rates. So with that, it's actually not really even a question of whether they will or not. It seems certain that they will decrease interest rates in September. The biggest question right now is how much. So we're looking at either a 25 to 50 basis point cut. So either 1 or 2 cuts by the Federal Reserve, really just depending on who you ask at this point. But what we do know historically, we are in an election year. The Federal Reserve prefers to be atypical. So the expectation is that they will prefer to not decrease interest rates in a manner that would make one party look better or worse than the other. So as of right now, the expectation is they do begin in September. We're just not 100% sure how much. So definitely an appealing time to be a bond investor, which is something we haven't experienced really in the past, past 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So
some opportunity there for some money in the bond market. That's
absolutely
a good thing. But
yeah.
Or if you wanted to make a quick buck, you could go the felony route and hold up a bank drive-through like a man in Portland, Maine did, requesting $50,000 in 20s, which he did receive and then later was arrested and confessed to the whole thing. So not a very bright person. But
my question is, how do you hold up a bank through the drive-through?
He had nice handwritten note that said there was a bomb that was going to go off if he didn't get his $50K. So not a lot of money for threatening a lot of lives. But maybe he needed a new getaway car, or a down payment on a house in Colorado to sell lemonade. I don't know.
50,000 doesn't seem like something to blow yourself up over. Personally,
Apparently.
that's my personal opinion, I guess. Maybe I value my life more than he values his.
He's doing 20 years now,
Oh,
so it was
well.
worth 20 years of his life, I guess.
Guess so. All right. Well, inflation, his 50,000 is not going as much
That's
as it
true.
used to,
That's
so,
true.
as far as it used to. All right. Now for the Florida news story of the month. So 2 consecutive months. Shout out to Ashley Miller, our marketing coordinator, for providing this news story. And for you viewers out there, if you have any interesting stories that you come across, feel free to submit them, and it might end up on the segment. So just for future reference. All right, but our Florida news story of the month. So a Florida man was arrested for burglarizing a home, and the reason behind that was that he heard dogs barking inside. Now, my assumption was if you have a dog at home, typically your dog is kind of a protector of your house, so the dog will bark at intruders and things like that. If you're a bystander and you hear dogs barking inside, I don't think that's a sign that you should go inside and burglarize the home.
Run
I feel
away.
like it's the exact opposite. But this man must have been on something, which I'll get to in a second. And he decided to burglarize the home. The family was home. They called the cops. When the cops showed up, the man who burglarized the home provided the cops with methamphetamine that he had on his person, and he asked them to check the drug because he thinks that it was bad drugs that he consumed. So not only did he burglarize a home with apparently dogs and the family home, he did give the cops methamphetamine that he wanted them to check to see if they were good or not. Just a really bad IQ move there, in my personal opinion. And I think that's a pretty consistent trend with criminals in the state of Florida.
Making the cops' job easy.
I guess. Yeah.
Probably was bad drugs as opposed to all the good drugs that you...
All the good drugs you
Could
could
take.
be doing, you took the bad ones.
Yikes. Don't be a
Don't do drugs. That's
and don't do drugs. All right. Speaking of drugs, you may come across some Halloween candy if you're in New Zealand that you might not want to take. There was a charity in New Zealand that found out they had accidentally distributed individually wrapped pineapple-sized chunks of methamphetamine that was given to them by a donor of the member of the public. Who knows why they're not vetting these people that give them candy?
Was the donor from Florida?
Could have been someone from Florida. We don't know.
I think the cops had a
Probably
little
was.
extra on their
Maybe,
pocket, you know?
maybe. But who knows? This could have been the good methamphetamine. I don't know.
Oh, the good one. Okay, I forgot there was good meth out there.
It just doesn't taste as good
I guess.
as pineapple candy. So
I guess. All right. Well, watch out for accidentally consuming meth in New Zealand if you find yourself there by any means. But,
yes.
All right. Well, this was another, monthly market update for you listeners out there. Please remember that nothing that we talked about today was advice or a recommendation. However, if you have any questions about your personal financial situation, you can give us a call here at 419-425-2400, or you can email us at hello@hzcapital.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Until next time, Chase and Jordan, have a good one.